not only produces a product, but art really, for many performing artists, is about the creation of community. Some people do theater or dance or perform music just for the love of the art itself, but I think there's a large group of people who do it just because they love to be around people who do it. And I think that is one of the major difficulties of what we're experiencing right now, is that the theater that we have had a lot of contact with together, Centerpoint Legacy Theater, was supposed to open the Music Man, was it last night?
Yeah,
I think?
yeah.
And of course they had to cancel. They're hoping to be able to get back for the second half of their run. These are mostly people who do this because they just want to be with people doing this work.
Yeah.
They just think it's fun to go out and play with their friends. They're right. It is fun to go out and play with your friends, especially when you're finished with it, you say, look what we did together.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, wow, I lost $50 playing poker. You can lose $50 on buying new dance shoes. But, you have a beautiful thing that you've done together, and that feels so great. And I think that there will be a lot of people that will feel the loss, not only of the income, especially because the people at theaters like that are doing it just as volunteers. They're not actually getting any income. They're just doing it because it's fun. But then they miss out on something that's really important to their emotional well-being, getting together with people and putting on a show. So when you say, hey, look, maybe we can find a way to do this in small groups. 3 of us get together and read a short play. You're doing let's do monologues. Yeah, we'll send them to each other. We're continuing to have the sociality. It is not hard to be in social contact with people right now. It's just so easy to say, if I can't see my Music Man family in real life, oh, lucky me, I don't actually have to see the ones I don't like. I can just call up the ones I do.
I know nothing, almost next to nothing about video games, but Twitch is how you watch people play video games,
yes,
right?
Okay.
And my brain this morning was like, maybe you need to learn how to use Twitch, not because you want to participate with the video game thing, but there's got to be a way to use that for the stuff that you do want to engage with people. Like, I can't watch a video with you next to me, maybe, or 10 of my best friends next to me, but maybe there's a way that we can all plug in our headphones and watch things and laugh at what we're watching about together. I'm sure that my listeners know how to do that. That's just one of my deficiencies where I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this thing that I normally do in person. I'm going to learn how to do it in smaller groups or not in person.
I vote yes.
Okay. Good. Ratified. This I didn't put on here because I didn't know at what point I was going to want to talk about it. But for me, anytime we're talking about fear, anytime we're talking about stress, one of my go-to medicinal fixes for that, for me, is to just get over myself and focus on somebody else. And so maybe my best way through this stressful moment is, how do I help my neighbor? How do I help that arts organization? Who can I talk to on the phone today that's stressed, and I can just sort of shock absorb some of that stress for them, give them a chance to vent and hold hands, through the phone. Through the phone! That's just, if we're in the arts, there is probably a level of empathy and an interest in understanding humanity that's going to be more important right now on a person-to-person level than what color I put on a canvas or how beautiful I sing a high C.
Well, I know you don't bring people into interviews to get personal praise, but if I had to think of someone outside of my wife who is always thinking of, who should I reach out to? Who needs me in their life right now to make it better? That is you, and that's why you have a podcast that is populated by all the most fabulously talented people in Utah. Because you're so good at reaching out and making this community, making a community of people who are there to support each other. I think that what you're doing right now is just a great example of how this does work, how this can work. We as an arts community in Utah, I think, have set a great foundation for how to support and love and care about each other. We can move that forward. Many of us are part of a lot of other communities that do that. I'm part of a church community. I was just on the phone this morning doing a conference call about how do we support the people in our congregation through a difficult time to make sure that their needs are met. Most of us in the congregation are not going to have real serious physical needs, but we're all going to have emotional needs during this time because it's just weird. It feels like the world's on fire. So how are we going to reach out through our church communities, through our arts communities, just in our neighborhood, even to co-workers and people like that? You're right. This is the time that we can just make ourselves into better people.
Oh, I like that. I'm not even gonna add a thought to this podcast brought to you by the idea that we should just make ourselves better people.
And I know it's highfalutin and it's like, yeah, what's the mechanics of it? But if that's really our goal, is to just make ourselves into better people, we will.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Reckless optimism. No, it's just one of my most favorite things where it's just like, yeah, I mean, just do